Welcome to Fox 5 Morning at 7:30. Amid the ongoing distribution issues from the shutdown of the Colonial Pipeline, Virginia Governor Ralph Northam declared a state of emergency Tuesday. Plus, restrictions are lifting on Saturday in Virginia and more. That could come next month. The governor joins us now to share what residents need to know about that and so much more. Good morning to you, Governor. Thanks for joining me.
Good morning, and I hope you and your viewers are doing well. It's an exciting time in Virginia. I think we've done well in Virginia and start seeing the light at the end of this dark tunnel. And the announcement from the CDC yesterday was really exciting news. So thanks for having me this morning.
Of course. And you know what, Governor, I'm glad you brought up the CDC guidelines. Certainly some good news for a lot of folks. But as you can imagine, there has been some confusion because, you know, they're just that, guidelines. States and jurisdictions have to decide what they want to do. So with that said, what is the Commonwealth going to do with these guidelines?
Well, it's a great question, and we're in the midst of reviewing those guidelines. You know, we've followed the science and the data all through this pandemic, and we certainly trust the guidance from the CDC. So we're reviewing that as we speak, and we plan to put out a statement in a few hours this morning. So I would say stay tuned, but overall, this is good news.
All right, well, look out for that. I do want to ask you, though, with this mask order in Virginia that's currently in place, it expires June 30th, which makes it a bit tricky for those who want to continue wearing their masks. Do you plan on extending that order through June?
I don't have plans on extending the state of emergency order, but we will need to make some modifications, probably through an executive order to allow people to wear masks that perhaps haven't been vaccinated or still feel the need to. But, you know, the point here this morning, the message to Virginians is that we have 3 safe and effective vaccines, the Pfizer, the Moderna, and the J&J. Pam and I received the J&J, and I really encourage everybody to take advantage. We've got the infrastructure in place. We've got the supply of the shots that we need. So go out there and get a shot, and let's put this pandemic behind us.
Well, Governor, speaking of the vaccine, you have a lot of folks, the numbers are actually pretty good in Virginia, who have gotten vaccinated, others who have not yet and don't plan on getting vaccinated. So when you talk about these restrictions being eased for those who are vaccinated, is the state going to just rely on people being honest, or are you for there being some kind of requirement of proof of vaccination?
Well, we're not going to have any proof of vaccination, but the easy thing to do for those 12 and older now, and so this, as a pediatrician, again, this is exciting news to have that availability, but just to encourage everybody to take advantage of that. Get a shot, roll up your sleeve, and put this pandemic behind us. But, you know, we'll continue to follow the guidelines. And we just know that folks will be safer for themselves, for their families and friends, and for the community. And that will help us get closer to that 70 to 75% of the population that we need to, again, to put this pandemic behind us.
Starting today, as you know, kids ages 12 to 15 can get vaccinated. What do you say to parents? I know you are a pediatrician. What do you say to parents who are reluctant, who say, you know what, I think vaccines are okay for adults, but not for my young child?
Yes, no, it's a great question. And I've participated in a lot of trials for pediatrics. And, you know, I have looked at the data and the data is clear with the Pfizer vaccination that it's safe, it's effective. And, you know, in order for our children to play sports and not be quarantined, in order for them to be back to school and not have to worry about it, I encourage everybody to get that vaccine. And if there are questions, talk to your provider, your pediatrician, your family practice provider, and get guidance from them. But I think the majority of them will also encourage everybody to get vaccinated.
I want to get a little more local here. Prince William County Schools, they're asking your office to give them a waiver for distancing at an outdoor graduation ceremony, or at least allow for only 3 feet spacing between seats. Where does that stand? I know that waiver is in your office right now.
Yes, we're working on that. And, you know, and I appreciate that it came from Prince William County, but it's, you know, it holds true for across the Commonwealth. So we're working on that. We just need to get the paperwork needed, and we'll make that happen. So I would encourage everybody out there that, you know, when we have these outdoor gatherings, they'll be able to use 3 feet distancing rather than 6 feet. That's what we use indoors in our schools. We know that works, and it'll work outdoors as well.
I want to revisit something really quickly. Will you allow local governments to make their own rules when it comes to CDC guidelines and restrictions?
Well, we're going to look at this on a statewide basis. It makes it very complicated when different districts, different regions are doing different things. So the guidelines for masks will be statewide. We'll also have guidelines for our schools. Obviously, there are children that haven't been vaccinated, especially those younger than 12. So we'll still require them to wear masks to be safe. So all that will be spelled out, but we'll do it on a statewide level.
Really quickly in the last 20 seconds, because obviously this is one of our bigger stories as well. Gas shortage. I know the state of emergency was declared. Virginia was hit pretty hard with shortages. Where does that stand?
Well, I appreciate the question, and I appreciate Virginians' patience. The gas line was interrupted. A lot of our gas, over 50%, comes through that particular line. We did declare the state of emergency to allow trucks to deliver gas to the stations. Those lines have been opened up. As everybody knows, it's going to take a couple of days for things to readjust, for the pipes to be full again. I expect through this weekend, Jeanette, that we'll be close back to normal. But again, I encourage people to be patient. Help is on the way. And if they can get away with not hoarding gas, that will allow those that really do need the gas to have access to it.
All right, that'll certainly help. Governor, thank you so much for your time this morning. We'll look out for what the state decides to do with the CDC guidelines later today.
Thanks so much, Jeanette.
All right, have a good weekend. Wisdom, send it over to you.
All right, 7:35 is